This is a reminder that on Sunday, August 26th, Let's Play at Navarre Autism will be celebrating Final Fantasy XIV's 5th anniversary with a special series of webcasts, which will support Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network. So come join us in celebrating this wonderful achievement and helping to support a worthy cause. This individual has certainly become synonymous with this game. Although he may not be a scion, although he may not be the Warrior of Light, this particular individual has certainly gained quite a reputation, especially during the time that this game has been around. He comes around during a specific time of year if you aren't wanting to follow him here to the Revenant's Toll in Mordona. But if you are wanting to find him here and have a talk with him, he gives you some of the toughest challenges you'll ever face. And he has gone on to spread his wings and take his performances overseas, over to Kugane, for instance. He's certainly been someone who, despite not being a prominent character, has certainly left quite an indelible mark on this game. And we know that when tomorrow comes around, he'll do so once again, because this Wandering Minstrel will of course represent the game as a whole as the Rising gets underway. And this one will of course be the most significant of them all. So with that in mind, greetings people of the world! Matthew back with you here at Navarre Autism for another edition of the Tales of Eorzea vlog here on Final Fantasy XIV's Exodus server. So yeah, we have now reached that point where the Rising will begin tomorrow. And the Wandering Minstrel here, of course, best known for... If you're just a casual player, he's best known for coming around this time of year to help you in various ways. And he's certainly had some interesting ways of helping to celebrate the significance of the Rising, which is to acknowledge the return of Final Fantasy XIV after the failure of Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, when it became known as Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn 5 years ago. And this particular occasion is definitely getting a lot of attention in the community, as it should, because who would have ever thought that we would get here, and whoever thought that this game would be as successful as it's become. I know I've mentioned this before, but this game truly is like a phoenix rising from the ashes, and it has definitely done just that, and it has left its mark on any and all who have ever played it. Over the 5 years that A Realm Reborn has existed, so many people from around the world have seen that you can learn from your mistakes, you can see the error of your ways, and you can do something about it. And so this Wandering Minstrel has now had a presence every year for the Rising to remind us of exactly that. That you can learn from your mistakes, that you can understand that when something goes wrong, you can do something to fix it, to change it, whatever you can do to make it better. And it definitely shows that the game has come such a long way. Getting not only the Realm Reborn, but also Heavensward and Stormblood, and whatever they throw our way for the next expansion next year. It's no question that the Wandering Minstrel has, of course, had the presence, of course, with the Rising, but also, as I mentioned, getting to send you on very tough challenges against extreme versions of primals, and knowing that he can be able to show himself and be able to give you the opportunity to unlock these challenges has really been very amazing. I mean, I think about what I've done, and knowing that the only way you could be able to accomplish some of these things was with his help. And of course, if you've ever seen the videos that I've done over the Rising, if you've never done the Rising yourself, if you're just new to Final Fantasy XIV and you really don't know what it's about, this guy really does have so much significance. Perhaps none more so than in 2015. That year was when the Wandering Minstrel played you a song and sent you to this place known as the 18th floor, and it was a variation of the Rising Stones, the Scion's current home base here in Mordona. And there you got to meet the characters created by members of the Square Enix Final Fantasy XIV development team. And it showed off that the Wandering Minstrel is a character based off of the leader of the development team, Naoki Yoshida, best known to Final Fantasy XIV fans by his nickname Yoshi P. And he wanted to express his gratitude to you for taking the opportunity to pick up this game and seeing just how much had changed since the game was first released as 1.0 in 2010. And now that we're 8 years on from that, and 5 years since the launch of Reborn, I can only imagine what is Naoki Yoshida's Wandering Minstrel going to do for us tomorrow. We have, of course, the Final Fantasy XIV marathon that will take place tomorrow. And I know that we're, unlike other events that I usually do where I have someone test on it for me, we're gonna all share in the experience together tomorrow when the Rising officially begins at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. So, knowing that, and knowing that we are going to be celebrating the 5th anniversary of the game in the process, I think this is probably the vlog where I really want to express my gratitude to anyone who has ever been a part of this free company, of course, but also to the free companies that I've been with before, as well as people who I've run dungeons with, random strangers who I meet once, maybe never get to see ever again, and all the people here on Exodus, because people don't know this about me, but when I first picked up Final Fantasy XIV, my first choice of server was not Exodus. I actually chose the Curl server as my first choice. And then someone who I was with friends with on PSN said, hey, I have a character here on Exodus, why don't you come join our server? And I was like, okay. And so I decided that's the server I would choose, and I have not looked back. Ever since then, my characters have played on Exodus. Of course, for anyone familiar with my Final Fantasy XIV speedruns that I've done on Twitch, trying to do the Final Fantasy XIV 2.0 80% world record, will know that my first one was set on Brynhildr. So there have been exceptions to the rule, but by and large, my characters have had their experiences here on Exodus, and I've met so many wonderful people during the course of the time, including, like I said, our free company members, past and present, members of free companies that I've been with before, Famriel and all of his friends. Like, of course, there will always have, for the best memory ever, when we're being with Tham and his friends, early last year, when I was in the middle of doing a webcast of A Day in the Life of Tales of Eorzea with Corinne, and I was trying out tanking Bismarck on Extreme for the first time, and it did not go well. And so I was really frustrated, and I was thinking to myself, there's got to be another way I can be able to try and figure out how to learn how to do tank swapping, because I'd never really done a dungeon or a trial where tank swapping was required before. So the mechanic was completely foreign to me. And while going through the party finder, just trying to find a way to be able to figure it out, I came across this random message that said, come and enjoy the show. And it was over in Limsa Lominsa. I warped over there, and when this moment I started warping over, you could see the messages in the chat, in the general chats, and you knew that something crazy was going on, and it was. There's a whole bunch of people doing the step dance around Limsa main Aetheryte, and Tham was not on at the time, and he and his friends were watching me stream, and they saw me showing off what was going on in Limsa, and they had to bring Tham in. They encouraged him to come on, and he got some footage of the dancing as well as myself, and that was definitely the most wonderful experience we've had, having time with him, and knowing that his free company has become successful primarily due to his notoriety, and he's definitely accomplished a lot with his group, and I'm very happy for him for his success, as well as for my own free company's success, being around for almost 3 full years now, because our free company, in comparison to some of the others, like of course the big huge FCs, are free companies that have been around since pretty much the beginning of A Realm Reborn, since 5 years ago. And being able to have been around and lasted for a decent amount of time, obviously not as long as those guys, but also knowing that we've outlasted some of the that we've also outlasted some of the biggest free companies. And this was something I did mention before in the 100th vlog of this Tales of Eorzea vlog, outlasting one of the biggest, or at the time the biggest free company on the server, which was a free company named after the anime Fairy Tail, which basically imploded upon itself, and we have outlasted them too. We're now in existence longer than those guys ever were. So knowing that we've been around for as long as we have, and knowing that we've met so many wonderful people, including Skyla, of course, who's become my girlfriend, and we've had a relationship for a couple of years. People like Winter, aka Isabel, her sister, Yami, Ilsanth just joined us recently, Olivier, Steven, and his friends, Leaf and Anika, and getting to meet people like Sully Wully, who was the first person who really was with me long term and who became my right hand for a while, and so many others who have joined us, whether through their main character or through an alt. I mean, what can I say for the time that I've been running a free company? Like, when I first ran it, I really did not expect, I'll be honest, I really did not expect I could keep a free company running for nearly 3 years, and yet here we are. We've been able to do it, we've been able to be successful, and we've been able to enjoy just having the time of our lives playing this game together. And no matter what happens, we'll always have the memories of the time that we spent together, because it was always enjoyable. And we know that no matter what happens after this, that we'll always get to enjoy the game knowing that the people we stood beside and stood behind were good people. We are very honored and grateful to know that we now get to stand on the cusp of this milestone in-game, and now knowing that it's coming tomorrow, and that everyone will get to celebrate the milestone that could have never been had Square Enix not taken the steps necessary to accomplish it. And so we express our gratitude to Square Enix for creating a new version of an old game. Well, it's old now by modern standards, 8 years, but it has been now around for 5 years, and we get to continue to experience it and enjoy it, and we want to continue to do just that. So thank you, Square Enix, for giving us a place to come together to enjoy your wonderful MMO. And we cannot wait to see what will happen tomorrow with the Rising, what the new expansion will look like next year, and what else you may have in store beyond that. So here's to 5 wonderful years. Let's hope we can continue to keep it going and see another 5 on top of that and get to 10 years. Because if we can get to 10 years, I can assure you that will just be mind-blowing. I mean, 10 years for... I mean, it's been crazy that 5 years has gone on now for a game that was long thought to be dead, and now it's about to... and then possibly getting 10? That would be even more incredible. Let's work together to make it happen, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And of course, I'll have all of you guys to join me on this wonderful adventure, because of course, you start out as an adventurer in this game, and the adventure goes on for as long as you want to keep it going. So, with that in mind, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this edition of the Tales of Eorzea vlog here, and as always, yeah, trying to find the words because I'm a little touched and choked up right now. As always, if you have a character here on Exodus or looking to create one in Exodus and you're interested in joining our free company, we'd be more than happy to have you with us. So, thank you very much everyone for watching, and until next time everyone, this is Matthew at Navarro Autism, saying take care, and I'll see you soon.